With each Minecraft update, some things become impossible, others become harder, and even others become easier. Hello there, Ray here. Let's see what you should and should not do before updating your world. If you're updating from my older version, make sure to check out my rares and discontinue playlist to see all the things to collect for those older versions. In 1.21.5, you could sprint and then hit a boat. This would cause it to slide forward and also wobble. But if you would do this and then ride the boat right as it's wobbling, there would be a desync between client and server side, causing the boat to clip through the blocks, allowing you to clip right underneath of any solid block. Tricks like this used to work in the past, but most of them can no longer be done unless you have a hacked client, as if you try to do it in 1.21.6, it no longer works. So if you want to clip through the ceiling of somebody's base, you want to do it before upgrading. Ever since 1.21.2, they made it so that if the TNT would blow up while it is inside of water, not only would it not destroy nearby blocks like these trapdoors and this concrete, but it also wouldn't blow up items such as like armor stands, item frames, paintings, and items themselves, as these were considered decorative entities. But as long as one little piece of the TNT was in water, it wouldn't actually destroy items, but it was still able to break down blocks. Since the explosion of the TNT happens in the center, meaning that we could use this to break down blocks in a tree farm, yet it wouldn't actually destroy the items that come off of the tree, so you would never have to worry about the TNT destroying your items. So in 1.21.6, this was changed to revert it back similar to how it was prior to the 1.21.2 update, where now it will also destroy items, as well as armor stands, but it won't destroy paintings or item frames. So if you want to create a powerful tree farm where you can destroy the tree instantly and never have to worry about the items getting destroyed, you want to do it before upgrading. Otherwise, you can build this tree farm that I designed that can do 13 different things all in one, which does not depend on the TNT changes. You guys can look forward to that video soon. In version 1.21.5, if the owner of a dog would leave into a different dimension, the dog is supposed to automatically sit down. But it was broken, so the dog was constantly standing, which could cause the dog to walk into something dangerous when the player is gone. But in 1.21.6, when the player leaves into a different dimension, the dog will automatically sit down so it won't get in trouble, which means we can once again use this as a way to make wireless redstone. Notice as soon as the player goes into a different dimension, the dog is going to sit, therefore it's not going to be splashing in the water, and the skulk is no longer going to put off redstone. But when the player comes back into the dimension, the dog's going to try to attack the skeleton, and when it walks towards it, it's going to splash in the water, and the skulk's going to hear the splashing, so the output here would determine if the player is in this dimension or not. So you can also use this player leaving the server, as the dog will also automatically sit down. You can put one of these little devices in every dimension to check different dimensions to see if the player is there or not, or if you want to run different types of wireless redstone throughout different dimensions. But there is easier ways of doing wireless redstone, which I covered in this video here. In 1.21.5, they accidentally changed portals so that they would only teleport stuff if they collided with the portal blocks themselves. So any entity that would just end up on the edge of the portal block would not get teleported. You can see that even though I'm standing really inside of the nether portal, I'm not actually touching the portal blocks, and therefore it's not teleporting me. But if I move a little bit closer and then intersect them, as soon as I touch them, then I start getting teleported away. So if you're trying to move some items or entities into the nether dimension or back into the overworld, all of a sudden your machines weren't working like they were before. Now this did not actually break nether portal chunk loading, because you can just use a minecart like this that goes back and forth. And as you can see, the nether side is just a bumper pushing it back through again. And because it has enough momentum, it's able to reach all the way into the portal and actually touch it in order to teleport. And other portal chunk loaders that use items getting dropped out of droppers would also work, as long as you drop the item fast enough so it can reach the center of the portal to teleport away. They'll end up on their side. Same thing when we drop the item back through again, we make sure to drop the item high enough up so it's able to clear this little obsidian ledge here and not get stuck here. So if you set it up like this on this side and you just have a returning station on the opposite side, this change wouldn't have any problems in your world. But because it had the potential of breaking some types of machines, they decided to fix this problem in the next update. So in 1.21.6, it'll work like before in 1.21.4, where if any item intersects with the entire 1x1 cubed area, then it will be teleported by the portal, but if it does not intersect it, then it will not. So if you've been having trouble with entities going through portals, they will work like in the past once again. Leave a like on the video if you enjoy learning niche things about the game. Now you can actually get ingredients to craft a new item that's coming out in the new update, and that is these dried gas blocks, which are not only cool for decoration, but you can also put them in water, wait 20 minutes for them to convert over into a gas lane, which will eventually grow up into the new happy gas, I have tons of crazy things that you can do with them that I covered in this video, which I'll put in the description and you guys can check out later. And you can already prepare for all this lovely fun by getting the crafting ingredients needed to craft them, which is gas tears and a soul sand. And you can farm up gas tears automatically with my gas tear farm here, as it does need quite a few gas tears to go along with the soul sand. And you can start stocking up on soul sand as well, which you can get from bartering, which you can get from a gold farm. I have this really nice design here that's simple yet is really efficient. But speaking of bartering, they also changed the loot table of bartering, so now there is a chance of getting the new dried gas when you barter with the piglin using gold ingots. This means it's going to be more rare to actually get the rest of the items, because in order to add a new item they had to make the probability of getting everything else slightly less. Although this change only reduces the chance by like 1/10% for most items. But that is going to make a difference if you want a whole bunch of some of these items, so go ahead and stock up on all your bartering if you don't want to end up with a whole bunch of dried gas in your trades when using up your gold. Speaking of gold, if you want to, you can actually just store up your gold and wait for the next update, and then only decide to barter with them afterwards in order to actually get that chance of the dried gas items if you would like to just use bartering method in order to get these new items. This design of mine is also updated, so now it can work with looting as well, so you can get way more ingots and you get XPs as well after the nerf. And you do need to place this in water in order to get one of the new advancements, which is Stay Hydrated, which is a new advancement found in the Husbandry tab. There's also a second advancement for putting a creaking heart between two pale oak logs. This is called Heart Transplant, which is a new one in the Venture tab. But you'll have to wait for the actual update before you can get these new advancements. And the harness that are needed in order to ride the Happy Gas are also craftable, meaning that you can collect the items before the update's even out. You can get the leather from either bartering or from a hoglin farm, you get the glass from my automatic sand duper, and you can get the wool from a sheep farm. Another new item that's coming out in the next update is the Tears music disc, but this cannot be crafted like the other new items, but rather you just have to send back a gaseous fireball and hit it with it. This will have a 100% chance of dropping the disc. But what you can do is start building this farm of mine, which actually lets you automatically farm up an infinite amount of these new discs. And in my opinion, it's one of the best sounding music discs in the game, so you might want to grab a bunch of them, especially if you're on a server where you can sell them to others. Leads also have a whole bunch of cool new uses, which I covered in this video here, and you can prepare for this by making a bunch of them ahead of time, although the recipe also changes in the version, so it no longer uses a slime ball, but instead just uses another piece of string. In which case you might want to actually wait until this update comes out, because getting string is cheaper as you can easily get tons of it from bartering piglins. For getting slime's a little bit more annoying, but if you want to, I do have the simple slime farm that can be built almost anywhere. Another new crafting recipe is for saddles, so you no longer have to farm them from like AFK fishing or raid farms from the Ravagers, but rather you can just use 3 leather and a iron ingot. So if you want to make a bunch of them, you can go ahead and stock up on leather and iron, and then do all the crafting in the new version. Now hiding from other players on servers is going to be more difficult because now they added this locator bar at the bottom near your hunger bar and hearts. And since it's being added into all servers by default, and it doesn't matter how far you go away, you will always show up on it. And even if you're not in line of sight, the indicator will still show up. If you don't want to be seen by other players, you can always still hide by putting stuff like mob heads on top of your head. This will hide the actual little indicator on the bar. Notice it vanishes. Or you could put like carved pumpkin in your head will also do it. Or just crouching, which who wants to crouch all the time? Or you can use an invisibility potion so you make sure you don't show up. But if you are a server owner, you can disable the locator bar. And this is under a game rule called locator bar, and just set that to false, and then it will vanish for everybody. So you might want to prepare for this by getting yourself a mob head. Make sure you're a subscriber to see all the crazy stuff that I'm up to. Mobs that shoot projectiles are going to be more dangerous in future versions. This is because they will no longer end up accidentally hitting mobs that are beside them. Where previously, if there was a mob kind of near the center of the mob that was shooting, it'd always end up hitting the mob in front rather than shooting through the hole. But now the arrows will ignore entities that are near them, at least for the first 2 game ticks. This means that mobs can shoot projectiles really close to other mobs without hitting them, but the likelihood of it hitting an entity on the side increases the further the projectile goes outward. Which also has the benefit of you shooting projectiles right beside other entities without it accidentally clipping it, which is nice if you're fighting in a group of people. Witches are stronger in the next version, and in this version here, if the potion would land beside you, you would get the effects, but since they were kind of far away from your player's head, the time of them would be a lower number. But now if the potion effect hits near your feet, it will give you a stronger dose, because unlike the past where the potion effects would be stronger if they hit closer to your player's head, now it doesn't matter if they hit near your feet or near your head, long as they're the same distance from this white line, they will give you the same duration of the effect, meaning that overall even potions that land on the ground are going to be stronger for the player. But this resolves a bug when it comes to stacking a whole bunch of mobs in a single spot, like in my easy slime farm using allays and infested potions as well as oozing potions, where when the lays get hit by a potion, it would only give one of the lays a full effect, where although we're getting a lesser dosage, meaning that we would have to use up more potions because of this problem. But now with this change, a single potion will last the entire 3-minute duration, meaning we can increase the duration between splashing potions, and therefore we're going to save potions overall. Every mansion you have ever explored is different than the mansions which are going to be in 1.21.6. That is because for the 9 years that they've been around, you've never ever seen this room. This is a new room that's coming to the mansions in 1.21.6, where it has a chance of spawning in on the top 2 levels. In here you'll find flower pots full of the allium flowers and some vines. We also got a cauldron with water, and there's also a chest which also has some more flowers. Where prior to this update you would have a chance of getting one of these 4 rooms, now you also have a chance of getting the new one. So just by having one of these old mansions in your world, you potentially have a discontinued structure. It's no longer possible to actually click a rocket up against a block if you're already in elytra mode. Now I'm not sure why anybody would want to do this, because this change actually makes it really helpful when it comes to flying. Because before, if you tried to launch in a small area like this, and if you were aiming at a block, it'd always just launch a rocket up against the block, even if you were in flying mode. But now that has changed, so if you're in flying mode and you click up against a block, you're actually going to get the boost from the rocket rather than it launching from the block. So let's go ahead and do it. We're going to go into elytra mode and then click against the block here, and you can see it causes me to fly, which is great for getting out of really tight areas, especially if you don't have any air spot to click on. So you no longer have to look straight up whenever trying to get out of these small areas. But if you did some kind of combat where you would launch rockets at people while flying with elytra, this is no longer possible. See more rares and collectibles in this playlist here. And thanks guys for all the support over the years. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye!